Welcome to the What Now podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Powers. Follow along as I figure out how to go from feeling lost and at a crossroads in my life to hopefully, eventually, being found. If you have ever felt like you needed a change or pivoting from your current experience is necessary, but you just don't know how, join me. Wanderers are always welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to What Now, podcast for Lost and Found. This is your host, Amanda, and it is so wonderful to be with you today. I am excited to be back on the mic. The last couple of weeks have been pretty crazy. I've been busy, and as some of you may have noticed, the episodes have not been coming out on Tuesdays like normal. Sometimes they're coming out on Fridays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, honestly, when I can get to it. And this has been one of those weeks, especially with, 4th of July holiday being right in the middle and work being very busy with a lot of new projects that are coming to fruition, which is really great, and lots of good news for our day job. Yay! Round of applause. Oh, I wonder if I've got a clapping sound in here. There's cheering. Yeah, nice. Oh gosh, guys. Y'all, what's up? So I have a lot going on. I'm leaving for DC. I'm recording on July 5th, and I'm leaving for DC tomorrow, but I needed to get an episode out, just to stay up with consistency. And to be honest, I wanted to think about what is going to be the most fruitful and effective thing to say. What do I have to offer you this week? And the truth is, I don't know that I have much. There's been a lot of turmoil in the US lately, especially with all the decisions that have come down from the Supreme Court, all of the laws that are changing across the country for various states. And it's an election year, which is an exciting time in the United States and a terrifying time. And unfortunately, we have to hold space for both. It doesn't get to be a positive experience for everyone. And I know that this is not a political podcast. You don't come to this podcast to talk about the news or talk about politics or talk about what's going on in DC or what's happening across the country. But I knew that there was nothing I could say this week that could override or ignore what's going on and how it may be affecting you and affecting how you feel and affecting the way that you think and the way that you operate and the way that you are processing your own thoughts and your own place in the world. And so I wanted to make sure that I actually acknowledged that and tell you that I'm terrified when I think about it. I'm terrified when I feel like things are getting closer and closer to the worst possible options, and I feel helpless. I feel like there's not much I can do. There's not much I can change. I'm just one person. And when I'm, doom scrolling, unfortunately, on Instagram or social media or whatever, trying to get topics or ideas or thoughts down, and most of the people are sad and terrified, and it looks like the country is still very split. It makes it seem like the country is still very argumentative. And when you have geriatric leaders in place, you worry about the future of the country. And for a place that I love so much and a place that I value being a part of and that, kind of used to be my old life, the laws that are being passed now are affecting my friends and people that I care for that work for the government. And it's just hard. It's really hard to feel like, even though I'm not there anymore, it's very hard to watch the world keep spinning and feel like we're going, you get 3 steps forward just to get pushed 5 steps back, 1 step forward to get pushed 5 back, or whatever the phrase is. And it's shitty. It just is. There's no other way to describe it. It sucks. Everything sucks. But But I wanted to find a way to acknowledge the fear that you might be having right now and the frustration you're probably having right now, or the confusion or the dissent, the feelings of disillusionment because you've been watching all of these horrible things happen back to back to back for the last several years. And now you're almost, dare I say it, not disenfranchised, but desensitized. You have become, probably if you're an American, you've probably become very desensitized to the chaos that is happening in the country, and you're not surprised by pretty much the bullshit that comes out of the news cycle these days. And that's upsetting to me. I don't want you to be desensitized. I don't want any of us to feel like, oh, it's just another day. It's just another day in America. It's just another day where our rights are slowly being ticked away. Our communities are slowly being, strongholded and choked out, and losing money, losing people, losing access, losing benefits for our kids, benefits for the elderly, benefits for, fire and police and, our healthcare workers. And it's very, very stressful and scary. And I don't ever want you to be desensitized to how the country is running. As a former government employee, it's extremely important that the government remembers that it's put in place to represent you. It's put in place to represent the people and what you want and what's best for your needs and how you decide to live your life, because you were granted all of those rights in the Bill of Rights and in the Constitution, and that absolutely has to be protected at all costs. Your ability to speak your mind, vote for who you wanted to vote for, has to be taken care of. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today, is your future. I don't know if anybody's told you this or not, but the only person who is in charge of your future, who can make decisions for your future, who can change your future, is you. The only person that has any kind of control over what you allow in your life, what you allow out of your life, and what you choose to evolve towards is you. So if you're sitting at home and you're watching the news, or you're scrolling on social media, or you're feeling lost and miserable and scared and frustrated with the state of affairs, whether it's about this country or not, or about the world in general, or if you're feeling very, centric, if you're just talking about yourself, the only person in this world that can make any difference for your future is yourself. So I really implore you to take the time to educate yourself. Take the time to consume stories from both sides of the aisle. Take the time to decide to register to vote, to make a change in your life. If you're worried about the future of the country, if you're worried about how decisions are being made in your town, in your county, in your state, take the time to understand what's going on those platforms and vote and make a decision for your future. If you need to do that in other ways, if you don't want to think about politics and you want to just focus on taking care of your own physical health or your mental health or your own family's health or whichever, like, you need to sit down, be honest with yourself about what it is you want and how you're going to get there, and then make a plan and execute it. Because you can posture, you can huff, you can puff, you can blow the house down with all of these ideas and these suggestions and these goals that you keep repeating to yourself over and over and over again. But there's only so much hot air you can blow, right? Like, honestly, I have to remind myself this too, right? Like, nobody's in charge of my future. If I want to build a legacy through this podcast. I want to build a platform where I can reach as many people as possible. I want to eventually turn this into a live event scenario, possibly a 3-day conference event where I have a retreat and I turn it into a wellness center for the lost and found somehow. I don't know. I'm spitballing, but like, I can't just sit here, say those things out loud, and then hope that somebody somewhere someday is going to make that happen for me. Because they're not. They're not coming for me. I am the only person that's in charge of that. If I want to make that happen, I have to see that through. I have to keep working hard. I have to make the networking decisions. I have to take the training classes. I have to find the podcast coach. I have to find a business coach, whatever. I go to the retreats and learn how to do a better podcast, become a better host, become a better interviewer. I'm in charge of my future. No one else is going to care because they're busy worrying about their own futures. So I'm saying this to you now too. If you are worried and you are scared and you are so fed up with being burnt out, picked over, feeling lethargic or feeling like you're not in the place that you need to be, I beg of you, take charge of your own future. Be your own self-advocate. Please take care of yourself. If you're going through health issues and you're worried that something's wrong and you keep going to the doctor but nobody listens to you or they're not taking your concerns seriously, do not stop. If you feel bad, if you feel off, if you feel like something's going on, your body is pretty smart. And when you actually take the time to listen to it and it's telling you that something's weird, keep going. Go for it. Go find another doctor. Go keep advocating for yourself in the healthcare space until you find someone that's willing to listen to you. Until you find somebody that's willing to help you get to the bottom of whatever the problem is. Only you know yourself. Only you know your goals. Only you know your true desires for your future. And you can't make that happen unless you take action yourself or you go and you ask for help if you get stuck. Like there's absolutely no excuse to stay miserable anymore. And there's absolutely no excuse for being ignorant about what's going on in the country either. It really isn't, especially right now when everybody's future is in the balance. November's going to come faster than you know it. And again, I understand you don't come to this podcast for a political soapbox, and I'm not going to have a soapbox, but it just really struck me this week. It was just very poignant, I guess, that during July 4th week, where it's a reflective moment for a lot of Americans to think about, what is Independence Day and what does that mean to me? I had a friend joke with me this week about the 4th of July. He's from Venezuela, and he was asking me about, my 4th of July plans, and then I asked him, I told him what I was going to do, and then I asked him what he was doing, and he was like, well, I have to work. I'm not doing anything. Like, it's not my holiday, it's yours. And I know he was joking with me, like teasing me about caring that much about the 4th of July, but like it did start to make me think, my holiday. Why is Independence Day my holiday? Why am I so proud of that? Why do I enjoy talking about that? Why do I have red, white, and blue all over my house? Why do I bleed hot dogs and beer and and fireworks during this time of the year? If you were to cut me open and look inside, it'd probably just be shredded up iterations of the Declaration of Independence and a bunch of coffee. But, I digress. It's your holiday. What does that mean to you? And then we had, the Supreme Court decide to outlaw homelessness and friggin' give immunity to former presidents for official duties and threaten the future of democratic situations in this country. And it felt maybe not necessarily ironic, but just too convenient, way too convenient for all of that to be happening all in the same week, plus being 4th of July, plus being told it's not my holiday, it's yours. And it's like, sure. But if it's my holiday, then it's also my responsibility to give a fuck. It's my responsibility to decide how I want the rest of my holidays to look, the rest of my future, the rest of my 4th of Julys. What do I want it to be? And I don't want to feel frustrated. I don't want to feel scared. I don't want to feel intimidated or bullied or fearful for the fact that I'm a woman living in the South. I was never raised to be afraid of those things and to have my rights and my access threatened repeatedly and slowly being taken away. It's not something I can shy away from anymore. So I encourage you, please don't shy away from your own future. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your kids, do it for your partner, do it for the people you love, your neighbors, your colleagues, the people that it does affect. I saw this bumper sticker on someone's car last week, which I thought was very fitting for today's topic as well. And it said, "No one is coming. It's up to us." And it was a plain decal, just, dark background, white lettering. But all it said was, "No one is coming. It's up to us." And initially I thought that was kind of like a religious quote, right? Like maybe it's talking about there is no God, there is no Jesus, there is no Yahweh, there is no Allah. Like nobody's coming for your salvation. Like that's not real. Heaven's not real. Hell's not real. The only thing you have right now is this place, this moment, this speck of time. Nobody's coming. It's up to us. And then I started to think further with that. And I'm like, oh, maybe it is socio-political. Maybe it is about the environment. Maybe it's about justice, whether that's racial justice or equality justice or healthcare access justice or, sexual orientation protections for all, etc. Like, no one is coming. It is up to us. And it really kind of hit me later as this week has progressed that is so true. It's so fucking true. No one is coming. It's up to us. No one controls your future except for you, if you allow it, right? Like, no one is coming. It is up to us. So I really encourage you this week and in the future, take control of your own life, because no one is coming to help you. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to do the work for you. No one is coming to fix your motivation. No one is coming to fix your consistency. No one is coming to put the pieces back together for you when everything falls apart. No one is coming. It's up to you. So when you're feeling at your absolute lowest low, when you're so frustrated, so confused, so in denial, or so lost, or living with so much self-hatred, so much failed promises, so much depleted self-worth, so much confusion about where to go with your career, what's the next step you need to take, you're full of so much burnout, you've been going and going and going, and you can't sustain it for much longer until you crash. If you want to avoid the crash, take control of your future. No one is coming to save you. It's up to you. I'll leave a few of the resources of things that I've been reading lately, of some influencers that I've been following that cover a lot of the political status. Some of them have their own podcasts as well. So if you want to follow along with that, check out the show notes. I'll be sure to link everything for just resources that I've been following along with and people that I admire, or at least have felt bring a perspective to the table that I would not have had otherwise. I may not agree 100% with everything that they bring up or that they post, but it's at least a place to start, because they often offer complex information in a digestible form, in a quick consumption in that sense. Like it's a 5-6 minute video, something like that. So you learn a lot. You don't feel like it's getting shoved down your throat, but it also offers you a perspective that you maybe wouldn't have listened to otherwise. So I'll leave those resources there. But I beg of you this week and next week and into the future, take control of your own life. Take control of what's going to pull you out of the darkness. The only person who's going to care about your future or who's going to do anything to protect it is yourself. No one is coming. It's up to you. And that's all I have for you this week, everybody. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, share the episode with your friends, your family, your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, nieces, nephews, anybody that you think could enjoy or benefit from the show. Please share and like it all. You could share it on your social media and tag me. I promise I will respond. I see all of your messages and I do my best to get back to everybody that sends me DMs or emails. I really do appreciate it. You can always reach out to me at askwhatnowpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at Podcasts for the Lost and amanda.k.powers. We are also on TikTok, Podcast for the Lost. And one of these days I'm going to get around to YouTube and building my own website. But that is a future Amanda problem. That is something I need to take control over and ownership of one day. I know that. It's on the list of shit to do. But I love you, mean it. And best of luck taking control of your life. And if anybody ever needs to talk, you can always reach out. I'll be here. And remember, wanderers are always welcome.